thank you, thank you. Thank you for coming to the big show. Wow. Great audience, great audience. I am your host, Jerk. Thanks for coming out, and I know why you're in such a good mood. It's hump day, and I don't know about you, but on my hump days, I like having a little something to hold on to. And that's going to bring us to today's guest, a first-time appearance on the big show, the Tier 7 U.S. battleship, the thick one. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kansas. Yes, Kansas, a ship that refuses to be rushed and will do whatever it pleases at its own pace. You need me across the map? Not a problem. See you there in 12 minutes. You want me to nuke a ship? All right, just so long as you don't mind waiting 38 seconds for my guns to reload. Kansas is a boat with its own agenda, so if you need something done now, then carry on, my wayward son. What, too obvious? You want something more obscure? How about I reference the very small grunge scene born in Lawrence, Kansas in the early 90s? That's what I thought. No one would get that. So Jesse, just go on home. Check the video description for that one. Alright, before we get too far into this, let's put up the commander and modules on the big screen. We have, drumroll please, Wild Billiam Sims with Cotton Candy Andy and Mary Shelley Beepley. And we are on none other than, this god-awful map of Sleeping Giant. I swear this map has been in this game for how long now? A year? And people still don't know what they should be doing. But I do. I have fully integrated my patent-pending technology Motion over Viscous Environments, or MOVE for short, into the Kansas. And while I am not going to be running the risk of going back in time with Doc Brown, I am going to be doing something like shooting a Gneisenau. No, like shooting a destroyer across the map in a battleship, because that's how you win games in a battleship when you play solo. And that's a lot more than I can say for these two battleships who've spawned in the center and have reversed. Now, you've heard me say it before, I don't like our spawn system because it doesn't allow ships to go where they belong. French and British battleships on the wings, American and Japanese in the center, while Russian and Germans push in more aggressively. You also know that I don't like to leave where I spawn, but to get the most out of this boat, you really need to be playing some 3D chess. And in this case, that initial movement of the red team told me the action was flowing west, and so I'm heading to the 90s, living in the wild, wild west. Where do those shells even go? Well, I guess the Gneisenau turned out. And this is the frustration of the Kansas. You have a potential of 22 salvos fired per round. And so you've got to make them count. And while I haven't done all that much yet, for those of you who like to dev strike battleships, I promise there is something in the future. But before we can have that fun, we have got to do the thing you must be willing to do if you're going to be a part of the 5 battleship per team problem, and that is sink destroyers. Yeah, I don't really want to. I would much rather be doing just about anything else, like composing a post on the internet about how battleships need a buff because they take damage, and I don't want my ships to take damage. I only want everyone else's ship to take damage. But until that is implemented, I'm going to be removing destroyers. And I hope you guys can kind of see this maneuver that I'm doing right here. We can see that this Akatsuki is going to be coming around this way, so I'm trying to get close enough that I will be able to spot them. And then I'm going to try and get close enough to this island. I fired to try and bait them into thinking, oh yes, I will go torp that Kansas. And so I'm closing in with this island, so I will be able to turn immediately to starboard and use that edge of the island to block any torpedoes that the Akatsuki may fire at me. Of course, I am going to take a couple shots here, and I think I'm going to get set on fire, and somebody out there in TV land hits me with a Citadel shot right there. But hey, this is the price I pay for happiness, and The price the Akatsuki pays for happiness is getting dev struck by a Kansas. Bonk. And that's our second one. And I am very annoyed with the guys behind me right now. I am quite annoyed because all they have been doing is reversing, and all I am trying to do is find a crossfire. And the only place there is a potential crossfire to be set up on the red team is over on this west side, and man, this ship is slow. But yes, I am quite frustrated with the teammates behind me, and you see that hood. You see that hood just sitting there? Somehow they got disconnected. Now it says my shells won't get over. I'm looking at the Kutuzov. No. The hood says my shells won't get over, but I think two of them made it through the island because there's our third ship sunk. And I will say I was feeling a little bit better after yoinking that kill right there. This match is going weirdly. They normally don't go like this. Normally, both teams get behind their respective sea islands and just fire endlessly at each other's bows. But I'm guessing it's because the red destroyers overloaded B that we are clustered into this area as the red team wants to get themselves trapped inside of A. And I was feeling a Kraken. I felt it was coming. I just knew I needed to get one more ship sunk and it would be a done deal. And man, oh man, is the Gneisenau looking tasty, but I'm just not in a position to be able to end their suffering. And because I only have that potential for 22 salvos per game, if I'm not firing my guns, I'm not really doing much. So I will take a shot at the Richelieu's guns, and then I will slide into my crossfire position. Let's wait to put out the fire until we will drop spot. Alright, we are good there, and hold on. Do you guys see what's happening here? The Poltava is sliding into B, and it looks like the Poltava will be giving me a broadside. We just need them to turn a little bit, and it looks like they are. So, just checking our targets. Yep. Alright, they're going to give us the broadside. Let's fire our salvo. And this should be our fourth ship sunk. Oh. It's depressing. It's so depressing that it has inspired me to write a poem. Would you like to hear it? Here it goes. I see a boat, only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my shells pass before my eyes and hit terrain. Shells in the water, all they are is shells in the water. Same old song, just a bunch of overpins. I hate CVs. All my plans crumble to the ground because of DDs. Shells in the water. All they are is shells in the water. Now don't hang on. Nothing overmatches everything but Yamato. It slips away. All the money spent and still a potato. Shells in the water. All we are is shells in the water. Shells in the water. Everything is shells in the water. Not a dry eye in the house. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Pain is the price of happiness, and we have got happiness on the menu. We simply must convince these two battleships to get a move on. Now, if I were to continue around to the back of A, I would never fire another salvo this match because I'd be lucky to make it to the entrance before the round is even over. And so when I'm always telling you all in the comments it's all about positioning and that you have to leave yourself in a spot where sinking 5 ships is even possible, well, this is a good example. Staying in a place where the red team is likely to move is still better than going somewhere you know they won't. And with our destroyer slowly getting onto the red cap, we can be pretty sure that the red team will now do what they should have done, 5 minutes ago, which is move forward. And wouldn't you know it, our battleships who spawned at B and haven't moved will start their slow trudge forward as well. And all I have to do is ruin everybody's intentions of ramming each other. I did take a shot at the Richelieu there. I was hoping that they would continue to come forward. They're just not ready yet. They will come out when they are ready. The George is ready, and my reload is almost ready. So, fortunately, I am back in reverse. And we are just waiting to see what this Georgia will do. What do battleships always do? They go bow into whatever's shooting at them. So, looks like the Georgia is going to be doing the same thing. And I promised you dev strikes. So here comes a dev strike. Satisfying, isn't it? So, now, we need one more and all the action is on B. You can see if I had gone around the back, never would have got that shot, never would have shots on either of these ships that are left. And the main thing I'm trying to figure out right now is, do I need to flip my guns? My initial thought was that I would keep my guns on my left and I would take a hard turn to starboard to try and get on the inside of the cap for the Richelieu. But then I see that our destroyer is going to come out through the front and try and torp the Richelieu, which I don't know why destroyers always try to torpedo battleships from the bow, but, you know, whatever. Fletcher's weak, so at this point you can see, all right, I put my camera on the right, and so my turrets are turning because I'm expecting, well, one, I'm expecting our destroyer to be shot and be sunk. I'm checking the health of the Richelieu. Okay, so they dodged that second salvo of torps. Our destroyer does manage to sink the last red destroyer, and that means French battleship time. Ramming speed, right? Because look, our guys are coming in from the top of B, like full speed ahead. Everybody just wants to ram each other. Yeah, but I'm not, in the words of Hall & Oates, I can't go for that. So I've got my turret swung around, and I haven't been spotted in a while. The Richelieu doesn't know I'm going to be right here. The Kutuzov is a tempting target, but no. We can see from the angle in the minimap that the Richelieu is going to be giving us exactly what we need. So let's pump the brakes and get turned out just a little bit. And we'll just wait for the Richelieu to be coming around the corner when it comes, which is now. And I think it's with this salvo, we are going to be picking up Kraken 324 in the Kansas. And we get a high caliber. And we get a Confederate. And we get the Kraken. Hey, we've got the holy trifecta. And on top of that, a couple dev strikes. The only thing that we could really go for now would be a 6-pack. Alright, so let's crack open a cold one, boys and girls, and get ready to taste the Rockies. Because there is no way that we are going to miss this Kutuzov from here. I mean, they are sailing broadside perfectly. I'm even aiming up a little bit because they're turning out. Shots out. Hello? Oh my god, shells in the water. All we are. Our shell's in the water. And that's going to wrap it up for this one. Let's see the scoreboard. 2,364 XP for a good game, a below average good game, but that's what happens when neither team really tries to do anything. So with that in mind, I hope everyone in this match at least had fun because it was rather unremarkable. And that wraps it up for this one. If you have salacious stories that take place on the Kansas Turnpike like me, hit like. If the only saucy thing in your life is firing HE, hit dislike. Questions, comments, your tales of hearing slow dives, pig mauling in Lawrence, Kansas at 3 in the morning, leave it down below. And if you want to be a part of more of Jerk's early 20s confessions, wait till we get to Texas, think about hitting subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there for another one soon, and we will talk then.